What's up, guys? Welcome back to Price to Sell podcast, and we have another great episode for all you guys today. It's a hot one. We have David Cinelli from Roller Page. You've also seen him on Hot Market. It's a TV show that he got chosen to be on because of what he's been able to do. The guy's been selling, buying, flipping, renovating, commercial, everything for about 2 decades now. So he absolutely crushes it. You guys are gonna love everything he has to say. And on top of that, I found these hats here. So if you haven't found yours, go to pricetosellpodcast.com for all of our merch. We got the red, the white baseball caps, the hoodies, the t-shirts, it's all there. Get yours before they run out. And also, don't forget to check out our field trip channel, like and subscribe it, share with your friends. Crazy house tours, we're seeing some really cool properties and a lot coming in the future as well. So check all that out, subscribe to this channel as well if you haven't already. Other than that, go on, enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Price to Sell podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Campoli. And today, we have another special guest. As per usual, we're matching today, except for the pants. But we have Mr. David Cinelli here, who has nearly 2 decades of experience buying, selling, renovating, flipping, commercial investment properties, and co-host of HGTV's Hot Property.
Hot Market.
Hot Market. Hot Property. Hot Market.
Hot Market.
Yep. It's the same thing. It's actually a synonym. It's a synonym.
Yeah. I guess apparently. Yeah. Don't tell HGTV that.
See, I took my eyes off the screen for like 2 seconds and I switched the word up.
Yeah, there you go.
It's
You're not the only
one.
one.
Version.
Was another show actually called Hot Property. That's why.
There?
Yeah, I think it's on like CP24 or something like that.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
But it's not as good.
No, it's just a guy talking.
Yeah. This is way better. But anyways, thank you for coming.
Well, it's better because I'm on it?
Yeah.
There you go. I like you already.
There we go. So, yeah, I mean, like I've seen you from TV. Mm-hmm. That's how, like, before all of this, I was familiar of you from that, you know, and then Instagram and stuff like that too. So I'm sure a lot of people are, but for those that don't know who you are,
sure.
If you want to give a little bit of a brief bio.
No.
You don't?
No.
All right, guys, we are done today.
We're done, guys. Yeah, let me get started into it. Well, the reason why I say it's about 2 decades, for about, maybe 17, 18 years now, I've owned rental properties.
Yep.
Bought my first rental property. I was working corporate. I worked at Toronto Hydro.
Okay, cool.
And I was an analyst. Yeah.
I saw you have your MBA in marketing and math.
No, business and math. Yeah.
Business and math. So why? My first question instantly was, why and how for math?
Oh, I'm a math brain.
You like math?
I love.
You're
math.
one of like very few then.
Yeah, I took all the calculuses. I loved calculus.
You're one of those.
Yeah, and I liked math, and I had a scholarship to Wisconsin, Stevens Point University, and I was playing hockey there. And like when you go to school in the States, you don't need to declare a major right away. And I was kind of lost. Actually, that's why I did my MBA. To be honest with you, that's why I was still kind of lost. I was like, sure, I love math. So I got my degree is a Bachelor of Science because math actually fulfilled a lot of the requirements. Long story short, after I had math as my major and then business as my minor, and then I switched them because once they started getting to the 4D space, and I couldn't conceptualize it. I'm like, yeah, it's a little out of my realm. So next thing you know, I got a business degree. Didn't really try to play pro hockey, bounced around a little bit, and then came back, and my dad basically gave me an ultimatum. He goes, either go back to school or you pay me room and board. As an Italian, you don't pay room and board. You just don't do that, right? So I went back to school and got my MBA.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Where'd you play hockey?
Well, I played here in the GTHL, which was called back the MTHL back in the day, AAA, growing up. And then I went to school at St. Mike's. So I was drafted by Niagara Falls Thunder in the OHL and decided not to do that. Played St. Mike's instead. And then they folded. I turned on one scholarship to Sacred Heart University to play 1 more year. And then I ended up playing for Milton, got traded to North York, and then ended up in Wisconsin. And never after that, just bounced around a bit.
Very cool. I played GTHL too, but I played for the bench.
Nice.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, pretty good.
So, so you started off with investing first.
Yeah.
And then did you just come to that realization like, okay, I'm doing all this investing, all this real estate, might as well get my license?
Not really. I didn't want to be a realtor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, our job is so amazing, man.
Yeah. So So I basically I got my when I started working. That's I got my first paycheck, you know, as kids, I don't know if like you're growing up, but we got paid a lot of cash back in the day. And I did every job. I worked in electrical.
Yeah.
I was a server. I worked at serving coffee, but no real taxes. And I got my first big boy job and I looked at my paycheck. I'm like, holy crap, well, where's all the money going?
Yeah.
Then I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Me too.
And that kind of sparked me. And I went to,
Same.
and I went to go talk to my dad. So with our history, immigrants came, like my dad lost his, my grandfather when he was like 16, I believe it was. And then, so the only way they started making money was through real estate. So we're reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm like, this is my dad. So I went, I talked with him. I said, okay, I want to buy investment property. I see how much they take on in taxes. I'm like, he goes, all right. So we went and he found me a place in Roncy, which I still own to this day, a sixplex.
Nice. Oh, wow.
And yeah, we got into a bidding war. Next thing you know, he goes, and baptism by fire. It had everything wrong with it. It was just, but then we had a fire back in 2008. I had to revamp the whole property. And then I started to really get to enjoy like the marketing of it and seeing how the property and watching flipping it and seeing it. And then I was able to pull equity to buy another property. And then I started teaching people how to do this while I had a job. Mm-hmm. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that was happening at Toronto Hydro at the time back in 2012. Pretty much 20% of our workforce got let go, including my VP. And then one by one, we all got let go. Mm-hmm. So in 2014 was my turn. And I was like, great, I can do what I wanted to do. But again, I had like a lot of bad experiences with realtors, so I didn't want to be a realtor. But I created a company in which I was able to help people get into investment properties. And so basically find it, run it, flip it.
Yeah.
So I can help you every aspect of an investment property.
Yeah.
But the one glaring, we're trying to figure out how to talk to my financial planner. We had like a whole business proposal, everything ready to go, business plan. And we just couldn't figure out how to monetize it.
Yeah.
And the one biggest thing we saw was the realtor. That was like, yeah, like that's where you're to make your money. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get my license so I don't have to deal with other realtors, because just again, had really bad experiences with realtors.
I want to continue this, but can we just talk about what the experiences were? Just curious.
Yeah. So I had one realtor who, first of all, never told me like about, the shopping process when the deposit's due. So $40,000 needs to be liquid in your bank account. I'm like, holy shit. What do you mean? He goes, I need it today. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, that ruined the whole experience for us, right?
That's a big no-no.
And then that another realtor who got me a mortgage, and then this mortgage fraud, I found out afterwards that the guy was doctoring docs and I had to pay him. Like, what the hell? What's going on? Oh yeah, it was bad. Then I had another realtor who was having open houses, maybe show up at the open houses and do all the tours for her. And I was like, what am I paying you for? Like this, like this makes no sense. Yeah. And she kept bringing him like, no, you have to be here. I'm like, what do you mean I have to be here?
It was your own property she was selling?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Yeah. I had another guy who brought a contractor to do he got to do a home inspection, but he was going to do the flipping, so he wanted the project, right? So he told me everything was fine. Then after we bought the house, then he's telling me all the shit that was wrong with it. So anyway, and it was recommended and obviously the realtor was nowhere to be found and stuff after. Yeah. Getting in touch with them too. So anyway, so there's just many things over and over again. It was just and a lot of them were coming off. We grew up with realtors too. Then they always came up to me as a used car salesman. So basically, I didn't want to be a realtor. Yeah. So there was just it was just over and over again. We were just getting overly frustrated.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, there's still that vibe that people might associate that there's that stigmatism. Yeah. But I feel like it's changing as well.
Well, I think people like us are trying to help change that, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I'm blushing. You're right. Yeah. There are a lot of people are getting out there and providing different values, and people are resonating with it, so it's nice. But back to your story. So you got your real estate license, so now you have like this full machine package you want to offer, like a one-stop shop, like A to Z kind of deal. So how did that go after?
What do you mean with the so after I was getting my license, during my third course. So long story short, first course I was getting into real estate because my dad as well, we were starting to flip properties. He died 4 days before my first exam. So I was kind of like, shit, what do I do now? And like just go ahead with it. And then I took my exam. And then the second course, again, I wanted to push this business. But the teacher kept asking me all the questions. Am I doing this right? Am I doing the right? Like, it was all math questions, all this stuff too. She'd say something about renovations. I put up my hand. I'm like, that's actually not right. I was teaching the class. Yeah. And I was just frustrated. I'm like, why do I want to associate myself with this class, with people like this? They don't like By the time the third course rolled around, I just said, screw it. I came home to my wife one day and I said, you know what? I can't fight this anymore. I guess I'm going to be a realtor, but I want to do So I kind of got rid of that business because I thought at this point, I'm like, I'm just going to do real estate, but I'm going to give everybody the best experience they possibly can. And they can help refer me that I'm going to one by one, I'm going to start changing people's stigma of realtors in their mind. And so all I did for that other business was run my parents. They had a bunch of commercial properties and stuff. And my mom obviously didn't have as much of the knowledge, which I had more of the hands-on stuff. So I got to a place now where I've basically now kind of walking away from it and letting her and hiring other property managers to do it. But I got it up and running and renovated all of the properties and stuff.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
So you have that construction background. You're familiar?
Well, familiar. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over like through experience and stuff like that.
So let's be honest. When I was working in construction or electrical, I was digging ditches. I was ripping panels down. Yeah. I was feeding all the tubes. I wasn't doing all the fine stuff. My brother got all the nice, easy jobs. I was coming home covered in blood and cuts and shit like that. Yeah. But he was the one driving around the materials around all nice and knowing how to, to wire up all the outlets where I was just just pulling shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know. You got to start somewhere though.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't my thing.
So are you still like very active on the investment side?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you're
I still own my sixplex.
Nice.
We turned our matrimonial home into an investment property. We were able to pull the equity from that one to buy our house, which we just moved. And then we ended up selling that one. And I have 2 pre-constructions, which they were, so they're condos right now. I have 2 more pre-constructions coming up, actively looking that way. Yeah.
Very nice.
And always looking for, triplex something too. But the office that I'm in Jane and Bloor, I want to take over that property, buy it off of my mother too. So that's more of an investment property. So getting more on the commercial side too. So yeah, absolutely. I think that's the best way to earn wealth is through, I always believe in real estate.
100%.
100%.
And now, so for everyone listening out there, because a lot of people, like, even as realtors, like there's a lot of us, and like I've definitely done my own due diligence research, my own experience with it. But even in the beginning, I had no idea how to flip a house, what to look for, on the investment side. Like I feel like there's real estate business, then there's real estate investing. And
totally
if you're
totally
different animals, right? So for example, like flipping a home, like what are some things that realtors should know or look for to properly guide?
Yeah. So obviously the good bones, that's huge. And like if your roof, your foundation, and your HVAC, which is your heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and your electrical panel are solid, everything else is just cosmetic. It's going to save you a ton of money. So yeah, whether you want to turn that into like a duplex or a triplex, you already have the infrastructure there. That's a big thing. But again, that's with any home and stuff, unless you're tearing down a home, right? Yeah. But I think those are huge, especially if you're flipping a home, because that's where you're not going to see in the walls, right? Like stuff too. The other thing is making sure like what's behind the walls. If you have plaster, you're never sure, right? So older homes, like we're here in a studio which has RADs. Yeah, great. RADs look good and stuff too, but most people don't want those. So it's like if you have like those are kinds of things I'm looking for. Ceiling height, try to see if we can figure out if it's on a bungalow, what's in the rafters, because if you're able to open that up and get some ceiling height, because if you're buying a home that only has 8-foot ceilings, most people want, like people your age,
10,
they want 10, 11 floor. Exactly. Yeah. Like I remember selling houses, which was gorgeous, but they're 8-foot floor. And like in the area we're at, like all the 20 somethings are coming in and they're like, to 30s, they're like, doesn't have at least 9-foot ceilings. They just walked out, even though it was a gorgeous house. Yeah. So if you're looking at a bungalow, can we raise the roof on those kinds of things? So these are kinds of things they're looking for to flip to make a big impact. Like, I got everything out too. I want a shitty kitchen. I want terrible bathrooms. I want that. That's what I'm looking for, and that's where I save my money. But as soon as you started getting into like mold and if you see anything wet down there, sure you can save my money. But you start opening a can of worms. It's just there's so much money you're going to be putting into that. It's just you're not going to get your return on that.
For sure. And in the current climate we're in, a lot of people are staying away from flips just because of construction costs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Do you think, has it become harder? Do you think there is still opportunity?
There's more opportunity now. What I'm noticing right now is that the price of things because the construction costs are so high, that the houses that need some TLC, like I just sold 2 of them. Yeah. And we got way below market value. They would have sold like 3 months ago. Like one of them would have sold for $2 million. And I barely got 1.7 for it. Wow. That's a $300,000 savings.
Yes.
Right. That's huge. Right. Yeah. And the other one I just sold for just under 1.2, and that would have sold for over 1.55 last year. You know what I mean? So again, another $300,000 savings. So which you could definitely put into a flip. So, but both of those had water damage, or they also had something but you have to put some significant money down into it. But yeah, like I've talked to some other colleagues, and I live in Etobicoke, so the Etobicoke area, like we're noticing the houses that need some TLC, they're no longer selling as fast as they were like when the market was hot.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
again, because I think now, because with the interest rates so high,
Yeah.
and now the cost of construction, it just amplifies the amount of money people are spending. There's not enough money. There's not enough margin in there for people to make money.
Yeah.
Unless you're holding on to it. If you're buying it for your own personal use, again, you have to factor in, and then you look, okay, you have to factor in, well, what's going to cost me to get this, as opposed to something that's just turnkey.
Yeah.
So there's not as many of those around. That's why the prices have dropped so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And I've had several clients like that, and you're doing your research for them, and it's just like a lot of things just aren't making sense, like the margins. You know, there's not much more room for error.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So it is getting harder out there.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to segue into this the TV show now.
Okay.
Hot Market.
It's a good segue.
Hot Market.
Hot market. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're not really in a hot market anymore. But first off, how does an opportunity like that come your way?
Wow, believe it or not, it was an open casting call on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had a couple of friends and clients that sent it to me at a link, and at the time I was working with the guy. His name was Keenan, K-E-N, Keenan, and he's from New York, and he was actually he was a Oscar nominee for some of the short work that he did, so I had hired him to do a couple of videos and teach me like how to talk in videos. To talk in videos and what to say and how to break things up. And then he took his crew and they did this really cool stuff, which, they do. Like, now I do most of my editing myself, like that's just easier that way.
Yeah.
But he taught me how to do that. And one of the videos that he created for me in this open casting call, they said, okay, I sent the video and I said, here's a little bit of because we had everything ready to go, a little bit of my history and me driving around with my kids and stuff too. And it was just with my wife. And they just said, yeah, that's what we're looking for. They shortlisted me. I had a radio or phone call interview, and I didn't hear from him for almost a year.
Oh, wow.
And then in April 2019, I got a phone call and say, remember a year and a bit ago, I remember I auditioned back in December 2018 or something like that. I remember about a year and a bit ago, you sent in a video, and I said, yeah, of course. They're like, you got the job. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, I totally forgot about it, And then, we started filming in 2019, and then it aired, and we had 8 episodes in 2020, February 2020, right before the pandemic.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me about this, which
terrible timing.
Bad timing, eh?
Oh man, it was good in the sense that people can see it here in Canada. But again, I had a ton of friends in the States, which now could see it on Hulu. It's on there now, so I send it over to them now. But at the time, it was great because people saw it. But when HGTV came back, they shortlisted a bunch of shows which they were renewing, and we were on the bubble.
Yeah.
And they were still debating if after the 8 episodes that they wanted to, because we had a really good response rate. We actually found an audience. A lot of times after the pilot, the show will drop, right? Well, we continued to gain more and more people every week.
Yes.
So it was one of those things that HGTV was like, we might have something here. But they, through the resources, I guess, to shows that were actually already established at that point, because you didn't know what was going to happen in the film industry. You just didn't know. So they kept saying, it's not a no, guys, but we're just going to wait a little bit. Well, 2 years later, we're still waiting.
Well, I mean, it took a year to get that phone call.
Yeah, a year and a half. Yeah, I guess.
You think maybe you get another one soon?
Yeah, I'm open for it.
And say, hey, I know a guy, Matt.
Yeah, there you go.
How was from the 8 episodes you did do that did air? How was the response from that?
It was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in 4, I think, of the episodes. We're all, because there was 5 of us on the show.
Okay.
And so we all got 2 or 3 of us were on an episode at a time. So it was so the response rate was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you see the agents out there, the Ryan Serhants or the Josh Altmans, it's $1 million this thing. But I mean, Ryan, for example, had no business. He just had a lease business, and he just faked it. Yeah. Got on the show, and look at him now. It's those little opportunities that can potentially launch you.
Right.
Do you feel the timing couldn't have gone worse, but do you feel like you've gained? It still helped you gain a lot of traction and with clients in the industry. I know I've heard about you, like I said, from it, right?
Yeah, it's funny because I don't know. It's hard to tell because it wasn't a show where you're on Bravo where everybody's seeing
it. It's very true. It's different channels. 100%.
It's a different channel. Even HGTV Canada is much different than HGTV, right? So it's different. So the segment wasn't the same. What I found mostly for me, it gave me a lot of clout. Yes. So when I go to a listing appointment, people are I still throw it in there. I'm like, hey, by the way, I was on HGTV. Maybe I'll stop doing that in the next 4 or 5 years, but or maybe I'll gain 1,000 pounds and you won't recognize me anymore. And maybe that's what. Or,
you're still playing hockey. You're good.
Yeah, I should be good. Yeah. So yes and no. So it was funny. We went. My wife and I hadn't been out in a while, and we went to the Maroon 5 concert.
Nice.
And it's one of the first time outings since the pandemic where people are actually allowed out, no masks, all that crap.
Yeah.
And we got stopped like two people like, oh my God, can I take a picture? You're from that show. I'm like, we're looking at each other like, really? You recognize us? And we're like, okay. And it's like, it wasn't just once, it was like multiple times in one sitting. We're like, I guess people, because that was the first time to think about it. After we were starting to get air, like we were literally like shut down.
Yeah.
So it's like almost like people forgot about us, right? Now, if you know, we didn't get a lockdown and like after the 8 episodes that two were around, maybe people would have recognized us more and would have more club. Maybe that would have affected me a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But it's funny, you run into people that are like, yeah, I've seen your show. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, so it's like, I honestly forget about it. So
Yeah.
it feels like a while ago. So yeah, it's funny you say that, but no, I don't know if it affected that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like that's the thing you don't know unless people physically reach out.
Yeah.
Or you know, through Instagram or in person, you don't know. Some people are actually nervous, potentially.
I'm a scary guy, you know.
To come, well, yeah, that too, to top it off. But yeah, I mean, you've probably impacted 10 times more than what you've known or you have impacted. You know,
Yeah, maybe,
which
possibly.
is cool because I've experienced similar things too. But yeah, that's super awesome. I still feel like you're still gonna get a call in that 2-year mark, 2.5-year mark.
Yeah, baby.
You're gonna get that phone call.
You're manifesting right now
Right
on
on
the
this
couch.
couch.
Right? Well, we're open for it. We'd love to have another episode. I think all of us do. So
Yeah.
I think we still talk to our castmates. A couple of them are doing their own shows, kind of thing. But hey, the other 3 of us are still ready to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When they call you, you call me.
I will.
And you say, Matt, the couch.
The couch.
It worked.
I'll get you on an episode too, and then maybe you become a regular.
Done. And then we'll sell off the couch. We'll put bookings online. The magic couch, you know, like the big comfy couch.
Kind of
back in the
scared
day.
of what you did on this couch, buddy. Let's get this going.
That's not for this podcast. So, yeah, I mean, at least you're still taking your presence. You do well on social media. You have your hot tip Tuesday. Sorry, home tip Tuesday,
Home
which is
Tip
cool.
Tuesday, yeah.
Your episode, well, you're up there.
I'm at 144. I think I just recorded one today too. I think I'm at 144 or something.
yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
It's something so small, so easy, but so effective.
Yeah,
You got a
it's-
good response from that?
Yeah, because it's like there's only the one thing that drives me nuts about realtors is that like when you see their Instagram page, all they have is like posts of like sold this. Like nobody cares.
Yeah.
I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like some like I say like you're helping change too because you do like I do videos too. Like I
Yeah.
talk in my videos,
Yeah.
and it's not always just you need to hire me to sell your house. I'm like, well, why don't you know like here's a little bit about a house. Like so my home tip today was for getting your house ready for winter, and was like things I do personally like my humidifier wasn't working. I didn't know that. I'm like, why is my floor getting all brittle and cracked? And I'm like, and I went to get my humidifier. I'm like, oh my God. And like, as I researched, I'm like, there's so many more benefits. So like, what happens in my personal life, I think I could pass that on knowledge. And what it shows other people, it's like, I'm just not there to sell. Like you want people to get to know you, like you, and understand your business. Well, a big part of our business is knowing what works in a house.
Yeah.
So that's why I try to spread that knowledge as well. And sometimes I'm learning with you.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah.
And it's humble of you to even mention that. It's amazing. I'm the same way.
Yeah, yeah.
And at least you tell your clients to have a deposit liquid and ready to go.
Oh my God. One thing I never drives me insane is like, so I always have a buyer appointment. The first thing I'm saying, like, okay, we're going to enjoy this experience here. I'm going to throw the kitchen sink at you.
Yeah.
Here's what you're going to need to know.
Yeah.
No, did anybody tell you about land transfer tax?
Yeah.
What's land transfer tax? I'm like,
Yeah.
well, in Toronto, you have to pay double. What do you mean I have to pay double? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, like we get a little bit of discount. Well, that's nice. I'm like, yeah, it's not as much as you think.
it's
But
not,
again,
yeah.
you prepare them because then you can enjoy the selling experience. So again, that's another thing I never had before. Like, what's a buyer appointment? Yeah.
Yeah.
So explaining all that stuff, especially the deposit. Oh, you have an RSP? Yeah, you could probably have to get that in your bank account. Request it 7 days or a month before you put an offer in.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Exactly. No, it's amazing, man. And you, with this current climate, like we're ending off here, so I always like to just get everyone's opinion.
Sure.
Pick everyone's brain because you've been through some experiences. You started investing. You said 2008.
So 17 years, 2005 is when I first started.
Okay,
buying.
so I mean, you've
No.
seen some things, you know,
Yeah.
you've seen some ups and downs. With the current climate we're in now, what do you forecast? Maybe at least the next year, maybe even 2 years. I think we're got to think a bit.
Yeah.
Got to zoom out a little bit right now.
Yeah. So what I think is going to happen in the interim, there's going to be another increase in December.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's going to happen. It's going to affect the market again. But I think we were just talking about this earlier. I think we're pretty much, I think, at the bottom of the price point what's going to happen because when sellers are seeing that houses aren't going for what they want to sell for, they're just going to lease them.
Yep.
So what's going to happen? Inventory is going to shrink.
Yep.
And that's been our biggest issue here. So it's, yeah, like if you look at 2016 and 2017, the interest rates weren't much different than we current in this current climate. But what was affected was we only had 5,000-6,000 listings. That became a super sellers market. Well, if we're not careful, that's going to happen again.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the interim, it might be like, I think we're stabilized. I think the last couple of months we've just been under 1.1 million, and that's the bottom we're getting. And I don't think it's, me personally, I don't think it's getting much more. But we are going to be in a recession, so they are going to have to release, I think, sooner than later. The talks were in the end of 2023 to decrease the interest rates in 2024. But it might happen sooner, and then I think the market's going to get really hot again. We're Toronto. We just don't have inventory.
Yeah.
As much as people want to say it too, like, and that's what's going to happen. Like, oh great, rents are high. So why would I sell my property for 1.5 when I can get $6,000 a month for it?
Exactly.
So yeah, and so the longer term, it's going to be a bubble. It's going to be like until something happens with supply.
Yep.
We're always going to have this like troughs and like highs and lows.
Yep.
That's
It's
the
true.
word. I just had a brain fart.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like the highs and lows. So that's been typical of our market.
Yeah. It's we definitely don't have enough supply for the demand. And I've been saying the same thing. As soon as that any sort of positive news comes out, it's like that human psychology just like, oh, we gotta go buy now. It's like everyone just like rushes into the tunnel.
Yeah. But the one thing I would say to my buyers too, if you're buying in a market where it's been pretty stable, like highs and lows, the highs aren't as high, but the lows aren't low either. So in the last recession we had, my wife and I had, we were in the Kingsway, we had a property, and we had a hot property in Roncesvalles. Both of them, everybody else was going down. Our two properties went up in value. You know, so that's one thing, buy smart. You know, like if you know that, there's nothing wrong with buying in a property. Sometimes there's affordability, like you see that too, like it's going out, but you just got to be understand it too, like they might be more volatile. So you just be careful of those type of markets.
Yeah. And as long as you have good representation,
Absolutely.
like Mr. David over here,
Yeah.
or Mr. Matt,
There
you're
you
in good hands, and you know what to do.
Exactly.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of my audience are newer agents. So for those new agents out there, if you have to drop them with one gem of knowledge right now, what would it be?
If they're just starting out,
Yeah. Or even not even just starting out, because there are some seasoned but aren't having the best year, right? So, and generally speaking, those who need a little bit of help or encouragement.
well, I think most of the stuff is like keep doing what you're doing, but do consistent. Like have a schedule. It's huge. Having a schedule and knowing exactly what you're doing every single day and just pushing through that schedule will help you. So what does that mean? Like that means waking up early. I know it sucks, but yeah, like you want to be up at 6 o'clock, 5 or earlier, get your workout in. That means your mind set, your body set, but have a work schedule set up. Make your prospect calls every single day that you need to do. Do something to make sure you're getting out there. Like don't just sit there, wait for them to call you. You have to be there, and the marketing will come through. What I find is a lot of the agents that aren't doing well, I'm like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing for marketing? What are you doing to find new business? They're not finding new business. We're like, yeah, they're just kind of get down like, well, nothing's working. I'm like, well, what's working? Well, I've done nothing, and I'm all out of ideas. You know, so I'm like, no, like figure out a plan. Like if you watch my videos and stuff, and every single day I have a set schedule what I'm doing. Mondays motivational Monday, Tuesdays home tip Tuesdays, Wednesdays Stagers Corner with my wife, Thursdays Cinelli chat, Friday everything. Fridays now it's real estate advice. Saturday I have a Catterday, and Sunday I have so I ask either Julia, my assistant, or my buying agent, or ask David. There's a set schedule and do it every single day. That helps get into a routine. But part of all of that is to help find new business. Be consistent with your business.
Yeah.
And treat it like a business.
Exactly.
Not as a job or a hobby. Sorry, not as a hobby.
Yes.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of realtors get into the fun because, oh, I got into this business so I could pick my own hours. No, man, it doesn't work that way. No. Yeah, unless your hours are 24/7. Yeah, then don't have that attitude.
Yeah, it's the worst. I agree. Amazing, man. Appreciate that. That's some very good insight.
Sorry, it was a little long-winded, but
no, I agree with all of it, man. Running like a business, I think, is one of the most crucial things you could say.
Yeah.
In this business.
Yeah.
So, but for your new fans out there, where can they find you?
Oh, I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if I'm on,
like, where can they stalk you in person?
Oh, in person?
Yeah. Where do you grocery shop? Tell them right now.
I live in Etobicoke, so there you go. I live in Edenbridge area, so yeah, Humber Valley, Edenbridge. Instagram, I'm David V. Cinelli _realtor. Same name, I guess. I'm on Facebook. Instagram is probably the easiest.
Yeah, I
started doing some TikTok stuff too. It's just it's different. You know, like I'm trying to share my reels there too. Don't get as much traction. It's tough. It's a little
tough
different.
market.
It's a It's not a hot market, it's a tough market. Yeah, but I'm on all of them, right? So it's like, find me, like I answer all my DMs. I have this one guy when he was watching the show and he started DMing me about a year ago and I was like, he goes, oh my God, you're actually answering me back. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm actually answering you back. I'm like, he's like, you're a celebrity. I'm like, I'm not a freaking celebrity. I was on one show. Like that was it. So it's funny. So yeah, I DM, and as much as my dismay and my wife, some people, other people message me, I do message them back. So
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you for coming. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
This was attempt 3 of 3. So we made it.
We made it.
We made it.
Nice.
And to everyone out there, we will drop all his information below so you guys can check it out. Make sure to follow him. And to everyone that continues to watch and support, thank you so much. Please leave us a review, 5 stars. If you can do 6, try. You won't be able to, but at least 5. If you can write a review, even better. And like, subscribe, share. Tell everybody you know. And if you don't know too many people, go make friends and tell them. Until then, we will see you on the next one. Cheers.
Cheers.